Good morning, people. I will see three here. I don't know Concha, but we'll wait for more people to join in a minute. Hello, Prasan. Good morning. So we're waiting for more people to join, but let's see. I cannot see Konayache, so if you can just introduce, if you would like to introduce in your in the live chat, we are going to interact with you chat, YouTube chat. Come on, person. I mean, no disturbing. It's just an interaction. And actually, you should have done a alumni connect at our time. Hello, Brijesh. Okay, so I think I see 17 people here, and I'm going to start slowly. First of all, welcome to GEC Alumni Connect. Himadri and some other people came with this idea. Okay, lockdown chaitya, so let's do a YouTube or any interaction with juniors and try to connect them in various ways if we can. So this idea came up. YouTube is a good example to do that and keep it documented for a long time. So welcome to this YouTube's live. I'm Vatsal Parekh. I currently work at a software company called Red Hat in Pune. This has been 3 years since I graduated from GEC Bvn. I'm from batch of 2017. I started in 2013 in computer engineering. So welcome to this YouTube live. Today I'm not going to talk anything serious like bija loko kare chhe. And I hope you are fine with me switching between Gujarati and English. So I'm not going to talk anything serious today. This is just going to be me sharing my experience. Bija loko na YouTube live tame joso, bija loko na sessions, so they will talk about gate, they will talk about machine learning. They will talk about all the serious stuff around education and all the serious stuff about career. I'm just here to share my experience of my college and how I did in last 3 years. Yes. So I actually started in 2013. I started my college in 2013. It was a different time back then. Just to give you a perspective what it was, I mean, it seems it just 7 years away, but if you just say into perspective, it was a time when we still had core to duo computers, we still had 512 kbps internet. First of all, like for the first time, I didn't have internet at my home, so I used to use internet at our college, the 100 Mbps one. Professors password चुपके चुपके use करता बता. That's a public secret now. But yeah, so it was a different time back then for everyone. 2020 जो like Zoom calls पर classes no चलता. It was a different time. I mean, it was not Stone Ages, but it was a different time. So when Himandri came and said like let's do this alumni connect, the idea actually came to me. The thought came to me like why is this alumni connect needed? So it actually reflects back to our time where there wasn't really a good alumni connect. Like we know people were graduating from our batch, but we didn't know what they were actually working on. Feedback sharing જે હોય ને કે ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીમાં શું ચાલે છે, what are we doing wrong, like professors, like practically speaking, professors are also a little disconnected from industry at a point. So the real connect of students to the industry should be is usually alumni. They usually share what is the real need of industry, what you should be actually learning next, what is the best companies, cities, culture, like all the good stuff is like while you are in college, the best connect out there is through alumni. So Amara Vakte it was not an active thing. We used to know people who we used to know our seniors, a few of them, but not really a connect to say. So this team actually I think it's important for the next batch of students to just know what's going on right now, what has helped your seniors and what can help you maybe. So it was as I said, Amara Vakte avu kai notu, and it was a different time back then. At a point in starting of my college, I felt quite disconnected to industry. There was theoretical study, there was C++, all the new stuff that we learn in first and second semesters, and it didn't really connect to me that this is going to be my skill set. Like, come on, you write a sorting program, and how do you feel आनी पर तुमने कोई job आपसे, or like you will earn something basic on them. So it felt disconnected for me that this is not a set of skill set that is going to employ me at some point. Well, I mean, now I think of C, it's really a powerful language, and people do hire a lot of good engineers based on those programming languages. But like, think of 2020, JIRA, like one of the like famous job is web development. So machine learning નું નામ પણ લોકોને નહોતી ખબર ત્યારે. So I felt a disconnect this is not the main thing that will employ me, or this is not the main thing I want to do. So what I did in initial few semesters, like I started attending meetups in Ahmedabad. I used to go every weekend to Ahmedabad and just attend random meetups, meet new people. મારા એક કાકા હતા અમદાવાદમાં, હજી છે. So he is also in IT, not in software company, but is into digital marketing and stuff. So he used to have very good connections with people. So that actually helped me a lot initially when like meeting new people, meeting random people, but people who are doing really good good at whatever they are doing. So I used to meet security researchers, digital marketing guys, people like 2013 માં જે નવું e-commerce start કરતા હતા. We used to go to IIM Ahmedabad. Yeah, ઘણા બધા meetups હતા. So like at my time, like just going to IIM Ahmedabad was fascinating. Huge buildings, people like that, the fame of IIM Ahmedabad, things like that. So I started visiting Ahmedabad regularly out of like in the weekends for just random things. I even had a tutor who used to teach me C++ in first semester in Ahmedabad. he had a company, and I used to go there, and he used to show me how it actually worked in his company. He used to work on his security products, and I used to see, okay, asu chale che. It was just random first year college ma kevu chale. So I started exploring like just random stuff in that way in my first year of college. After that, dhire I felt the disconnect actually widened. Okay, the culture at our college, like not being really criticism here, but I had a friend in DICT at that time, and the topics they used to talk, they used to discuss, projects of their seniors that they used to talk about was way different from what I used to hear in our college. So I clearly felt a disconnect in that way. This is not the most happening place at that time. So I felt more intrigued. I need to reach out to more. I need to do something else. So that was a time when I continually felt overwhelmed or inferior by other people that I used to meet in Ahmedabad. But somehow I kept meeting them. I kept connect with them. I used to meet them like weekends. We used to I used to try to do whatever they are doing. For example, competitive coding or things, blogs that are using. I used to keep in touch with other people apart from our college. And at some point, I made a decision that, like, not really a decision, but it stuck to me that education, I mean the formal education that we are getting is not really limited by skills. I mean, skills is something we can develop by independent of what the degree or formal methods that we are currently getting. So that way I started learning few stuff. I mean, college में हतुत थे, but it wasn't really कि तुमने कोई randomly first or second semester में आविन कैसे कि okay, virtual reality is a new thing, or like machine learning or Python is a great programming language. So I started connecting with other people outside of college more, who were in actual real industry and working on real projects and real products. So while I was doing that, a parallel thing happened where I come from a business family, and so also, like, we are Gujaratis, so who doesn't like business and who doesn't like earning money, right? So I started doing some freelance working early in my college days, where I used, like, do you know WordPress? Anyone of you know WordPress? It's really a easy web development platform. If you ever made a WordPress website, it's so easy. Like 15 minute में एक website ready थी जाए, and it looks so good, that website, that it beats any HTML web page because it has templates and all the cool stuff pre-built in. So initially in my college days, I started doing some freelance work. I started making website for local people. I found easy plugins in WordPress marketplaces, which used to do all the fancy stuff of a website, and I used to sell them to local people. So in a way, I was still exploring a few stuff. Initially I was going Ahmedabad and I was doing some stuff. I started doing freelancing, and I was still exploring my, let's say, salesman or like market, like, facing a customer is a different aspect. Even if you're just freelancing and it's at just a 5,000 rupees project, it still needs accountability. It still needs a presentability to a customer. I will help you do that. I will help you achieve this specific task, and you promise something that you will do that. So early in my career, I learned a few skills about, like, facing a customer using freelancing, but I earned some basic pocket money, but that was a good experience. After that, like, after doing some freelancing, it at a point it struck me that okay, this is not something that I want to do for a long time. Like point I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Like this is not bad, this is not good, but I'm stuck with it. It felt abstract to me. Sales job is not for me. I wanted to go deep into technical career and stuff like that. So I always felt fascinated by computer hardware. In fact, my father ने computer hardware shop अच्छा in Bhavnagar. So I always played with computer hardware. So while I was doing freelancing, एक friend है Ahmedabad में whom I met through my uncle. So they were doing a workshop in Bhavnagar, electronics. So it was done by Intel Education, and the workshop was actually teaching electronics to school kids. We go to school kids 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th सुधीना लोगों ने we used to teach them basic electronics. Arduino નો બોર્ડ લેવાનો એની ઉપર એક સેન્સર નાખવાનું, Arduino program લખવાનો C જેવું, and just seeing how the output and input works. And I loved doing that, and it was just not me. મારા friends પણ સાથે હતા. So we used to conduct this small workshops in Bhavnagar. Somehow, I mean, it went good. I never anticipated I would be decent at teaching. Maybe I am not, like, I don't know. Students ne gamtu tu. People who were giving me those, like, helping me do those workshops from Ahmedabad were also liking me do it. So I continued doing it, and at a point, like after we continued doing it for a few months, and after a few months we had covered 5,000 students across India, like across at least 10 to 15 cities in India, starting from like Shimla to Bangalore, like Mumbai, Delhi, Nainital. So we taught at a lot of places across India. I did that gig for, let's say, a year now, 4th semester now, and just to say it clear, like I was not really good at academics. Academics has not been my cup of tea. I don't dislike it, but somehow I always felt disconnect that theory is really not my charm. I like if you give me a few real world stuff, I might be able to do it better. So I continued doing those workshops, hardware teaching, electronics teaching workshops, and it felt good. I traveled across India, and but again, you know, like that freelancing thing that I was doing, it again stuck to me. Okay, while I like traveling, this still felt naive at a point. It felt repetitive. You know, at a point you always feel that this is not what your curiosity is being satisfied with. Like it started becoming repetitive. So that even I was traveling a lot. I mean, they were even paying me to travel and teach while I was in college. So who doesn't love? Like think of this guy like me, dumb guy like me, and travel, like who gets to travel in airplanes in college, and who is also being paid to travel. So but it felt naive. So I thought of, okay, let's go into serious tech now, because it was also starting, like I was entering 6th semester of my college, and I had to think of something more serious now. So there was this guy who connected me to this Intel Education internship, and I asked the same guy, okay, I want to do something different now. I want to go into tech. So he actually has this startup of his own. He still has it. At that time it was very new. He had this company in Ahmedabad. It's called Oizome Technologies, and they make pollution monitoring devices. आजकल pollution ने अपने बहुत बात करी है, but we started doing those stuff into 26 starting of 2016. So that was the time when I actually took my first fully technical internship and at a friend's company in Ahmedabad. I was just lucky to get an internship. मैंने Python है वो basic आवड़तु थु. I had learned it from a mentor, if you know Dharmit. So I learned it from a mentor in like a time back, probably in my third semester, but I actually got a technical internship in my sixth semester. So I went to this startup. So this is a secret, but many of you know it. But I actually moved to Ahmedabad in my sixth semester while college was still on. I bunked a lot of classes. I got a lot of KT meanwhile, third, fourth sem, fifth sem, match 3, match 7 sem clear kari. But somehow the professors allowed me to do this internship at Ahmedabad. I was clear to them why I was doing. I wanted some in-hand, like real world experience, so I told them I want to go, and they said me at least exam aapje. So I went there and I did full 8 months internship at this company. 6th and 7th sem base sem mein internship kari, and I actually went there with no knowledge. But the good thing about internship is they don't really expect a technical skill set out of you. What they expect is they expect the enthusiasm out of you, that you will be able to learn and still contribute something to the company. So that actually helped me to start a process of learning technical stuff. I went there, people were so enthusiastic about what they were doing. Some were doing electronics, some were doing digital marketing about their product, but everyone who was so passionate about whatever they were doing. So I felt inspired and again inferior at the same point. So it felt like I'm not the smartest person in the room of that startup, but it also felt like that this is how I will be able to learn further, because 6 sems down the line I still didn't have any serious programming experience, and this is my opportunity to do. So I learned Python there. I learned Django framework there for the computer science or IT students, if you know these tools. So I learned those tools there. I built a framework for them, a reporting framework backend. I built a reporting framework backend for their startup at them. So fast forward came end of seventh semester. I still didn't know what I will do with my final year project really, and we had this project, but I didn't know how serious it could be, or I didn't had any idea of what I will do after college. Most of you ajna just like people have placement offers by 6th, 7th stem starting. They have applied for companies. I was dumb. I didn't do any of this, and I was just attending a conference, PyCon Pune, and there was this booth, Red Hat Pune no booth hato tya, and there's just a list of, okay, if you're looking for internships and fresh out of college, just sign up here. So I just gave my name. They called me back the next day. I was still in Pune, and they called me that if you are still in Pune, just drop by our office. So I actually went to their office out of no hope. I go and there are 200 people like formal kapda man with certifications and all the good educational academic qualifications, and I was like just randomly in Pochi Gyoto because I was attending a conference, and I just went there. Luck by chance, or I don't know how do you say it, but I somehow got the job. I would say my practical experience at the previous startup was really handy. The questions that they had asked were mainly about what you are actually working on at that place and what are the problems that you are facing. So they were actually looking for people with practical experience and practical skill sets. They didn't even ask me what was my passing number, like which semester am I in, or kitli KTs avi chhe hamare. They still haven't seen my results. For the fact हमारे 12 KT आई थी total or there, I don't have a count, but there were a lot of KTs I had. they still haven't asked me, and yeah. So I somehow landed an internship again at Red Hat Pune after my college, and to just brief up my experience till now, the word of this stream should be curiosity. Curiosity has, like, it's like this Gujarati shabd hai jignasha, or I don't know the exact Gujarati word can be, but curiosity has always driven me in some way. Like, some people actually really like academics, but it has not been my key. Curiosity has been my, I would say, my main driving force. I genuinely like doing something. I somehow, well, not the best way I could, I want to be, but I somehow follow or keep doing stuff that I like. So and apart from education, I early in my college I separated the two words, education and skill set. Though they are correlated, I differentiated them, and I made sure that they are, I achieve skill set. Like, even if I'm not achieving good at academic education, I still don't do bad at my skill set. Yeah, so kutuhalta is the correct word for curiosity. Thanks, Rohan, for that. So I think curiosity has always driven me in that way. So I somehow landed a job at Red Hat. Again, it was not the best job I ever wanted. I got a job in quality engineering. I always wanted to get into software engineering. 3 years down the line, now I am into software engineering. I got a chance to switch the job within the company. I was fortunate again. So there's nothing spectacular about my journey so far. I'm just a decent guy who got lucky and who just kept following his curiosity. Maybe all of you are not spectacular, like attending a master's after college abroad, or like DSCT ma GATE na, like you get 1000 all India rank in GATE. Maybe you're just a decent guy in final year, or just following your passion or whatever you are liking to do. So I think it's still okay of whatever you are doing. Keep following your curiosity. It will lead you to a good path, and just keep doing good of what you are doing. And like now looking at 3 years after graduating, I feel like education is not something which ever ends. I'm still learning a lot of programming stuff. I'm still learning some of algorithms for the projects that I'm doing. So if you think education is going to end at like when you graduate, it's really a false. You really need to change your perspective. So that's more or less my journey till now. And all the knowledge aside, keep following your curiosity or wherever your life lessons takes you. I think I'm done with my monologue now. So if you have any questions, just feel free to dump it in the chat. About my work at Red Hat, so Himadri has this question about how about my work at Red Hat. Yeah, so it's a really good software company. If you have ever heard about Red Hat Linux and Red Hat Enterprise Linux, or if you ever used the Fedora project, so it's a big company which works more or less like it rotates around Linux and cloud softwares. My initial project was that I landed a QE internship at a project called Manage IQ. Yes, manageiq.org. It was a cloud management software, and my job was to make sure that the functionality of that are working as expected. So that's what QEs do, right? They make sure quality checks. But the QE job at Red Hat is far different from any other QE job. We used to, like, the main job of a QE at Red Hat is to write automation test cases. We used to write very in-depth Python automated test cases, and things that, like, they used to navigate at various steps with logic of what is appeared on the screen, and according to that it used to do complex step building of what should it check next in the UI. So it was a cloud management software in the UI. If you want to manage your AWS, if you want to manage your Google Cloud, so you would do with this software in one place. And yeah, so my initial work was at this QE job. Then I switched a project, and I went into a different project, but I was still in the QE. I got promoted, luckily. And so I started working at this project called KubeVirt, and the project is actually about if you know virtual machine. So the project is about running virtual machines on top of Kubernetes. Again, if you know Kubernetes, it's like a container orchestration tool. Again, the word container means Docker or similar tools. So there are, like, for people who don't know, try to Google these words. So I did some work with KubeVirt project in QE. Then I spent over a year, and now I landed a job at software engineering into the same KubeVirt project. Right now I work with Golang, Python, Kubernetes, containers, and a lot of let's say not so high level stuff. They're not as low as in the computer stack as C, but it has to do with virtualization and lower level stuff. Ishita has a question about how to get a job in good companies. What can we do for the companies that do not come to our college for placement? So I myself is an example of that. Red Hat was never going to come to GEC Bhavnagar, at least in that time. Let's hope it comes someday. But I think, like, if the company doesn't come to you, you reach out to the company. There are, like, offline placements are a big time. Make sure you do a good internship in college, if possible, couple of them. I think there is going to be a session on Google Summer of Code or Outreach, and believe me, they are the best way to take a real world experience of programming while working with various complex tools, and while studying at the college. So do Google Summer of Code, do Outreach, or take an internship at any company. Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Bhavnagar ma, like, practically speaking, bo ochi companies hai, but wherever you can take a practical work, start taking a practical work which actually gives you not just skill set, but skill set which are actually applicable to a company in some ways. You know PHP, but PHP na kya framework avde છે. You know Python, but Python ni સાથે Django પણ આવડે છે. So employable skills which can give you a internship, which will eventually give you a employable job at a company. So just start with internship, start with small projects, and once your time comes, once you think you know a good enough of stuff, job postings online are like there are bunch of job postings online for any good company. If it matches your skill set, just apply. Sachin Santoki has this question about he's a final year student and he wants to go for his masters. So how should he improve his coding skills? So a good there are two different aspects of programming skills, I think. One is from master's perspective, where it's still learning programming, but there is a little differentiation about working practically for a project where you just start by learning a few parts of code and start building something. Then there is this thing about competitive programming, where you actually do a lot of algorithms and try to implement those algorithms in an optimal way for programming and solving a problem. But it's more focused on academic thing. Working for a professional job involves more of like knowing more tools, knowing more protocols. Like for example, if you're working for a web project, HTTP na alag uses, how you can improve them, or mobile applications bana hota hai, so stuff with Java and stuff like that. But academics na perspective se jota hai, so the competitive coding is your way to go. And I think competitive programming upar पण एक session thawano chha. So stay connected to this YouTube channel. Himadri is going to organize something. Can you tell us? Yes. So one of the pieces that I think I missed actually sharing is how to effectively do networking and tech with people and outside of your college and connect with tech communities. So as I told, I was always visiting Ahmedabad for random meetups and random conferences. I even attended a digital marketing conference at a point. I don't know why I did that, but I met a lot of different people at that time. The thing with networking is, it first of all, it gives you a connect with different people. It gives you different perspective about their industry and how you can also learn from them. So professional networking, the thing was like, while you are in college, people don't really give you enough attention. Like, yeah, if you just go to meet a company for a meetup, they will know, okay, you are there, but it will be mostly you who is trying to communicate with them, who is trying to get in touch, know more. The curious part, the curious person in the room should be you, and that's how you keep connect. And like networking is something which is like in the times of 2020, stay connected online, see of meetups, see of blogs, see of various stuff people are actually putting out. People are what they're talking, what they're working, follow them on GitHub, what tools they're using, and then try to talk. Don't try to interfere in like really Facebook profile upar jaine. Don't do that. Try to communicate or try to reach out or stay connected in a professional way by knowing what they're doing, talking about what you are working on, asking suggestions. Online, adna divasma people can be so much connected better. My time it's not a far time away, but it was Facebook and online tools were not so streamlined still like 5 years ago compared to today. So stay connected with people in a way that you want to know something, you want to know what they're working on, you want feedbacks on what you are working on, feedbacks about what should be next. This is like alumni connect. Talk with other people. Talk with people outside our college. As I said, મારો એક ફ્રેન્ડ હતો DICT માં, so આપણી સાથેની બેચ, મારી સાથેની બેચ નો હતો. So I used to always meet him, and when he used to come home, I even used to go to DICT whenever I used to go to Ahmedabad, and I felt I saw a completely different world in DICT at that time. Okay, while we were just talking about academics, what they used to talk about is competitive programming in their first year. They used to talk about their seniors building operating systems in their final year projects, and a lot of stuff that used to happen in DICT. I used to know it via a friend. So it helped me stay curious. It helped me stay interested into this field, and this is just an example. You can also continue doing that in whatever ways you can find. So apart from meeting people, staying connected with people, a good way to stay connected is using online internships. I already talked about, I already said GSOC is a good way. So apart from GSOC, there are many other online internships as well. For example, Zulip summer internship is there. Yusuf is going to talk about it. And even if it doesn't give you any real, like even if you don't get selected for such internships, try to look at their projects. GitHub is the new repository of the code in the world. I mean, it's not new, but it's getting more and more streamlined today. So I have seen Red Hat. Like I've interviewed people at Red Hat. I've interviewed people for a job at Red Hat, and we usually see their GitHub profile. Okay, this guy is actually working on something. He has actually pushed code to something. So try to build a profile on GitHub. Try to show and demonstrate your actual professional skills, coding skills using these tools. And even if you don't get an internship at this project's Google Summer of Code or any other summer internships, you can still go for companies which can give you remote internships. Like in lockdown, everyone is really working remotely, so I don't think someone will hesitate to give you a remote internships while you are working at college. It might not be paid internship. You might have to work on some tedious stuff, but you will at least start getting some real world experience. And apart from this, one important thing is start writing blogs, and also start reading blogs. If you see medium.com or there are so many other technical blogs out there. You can just start by doing a filter on Google News. Like start reading even technical news. What is the world is actually doing? What big companies are producing? Facebook na technical projects kya hai? Apart from just using Facebook has a lot of technical projects. Even using Netflix. If you go like netflix.com if you just go to Netflix GitHub, they have so many open source projects, so many open source tools for various programming languages, for various frameworks. So start exploring these tools and these projects. You will slowly start finding your like something that you can contribute to. And all of these open source projects, open source is a great way to start your career. So all of these open source projects have something called as easy to get, like they always have some sort of tags that you can start contributing to those projects. So there are a bunch of these tools you can start looking at it. Okay. So Himadri is asking that I have done some interviews at Red Hat for Red Hat, and I can give you some insights from the other part of the table. I haven't really had a professional yet. I've interviewed people for internships at Red Hat, and like my team hiring so I had to interview a few people for internship in my team. So insight from the other part of table. Okay, I think as I said first, one will always look for employable skills. I mean, if you know Python, that's good, but if you know Python which matches what I want to For example, if I'm hiring for a web development job, and if you already know Python plus Django, and I'm working on Python plus Django, that is already a match. But what people usually look for is how well you can learn something. For example, you have Java experience for 10 years. It really means that you know the language very well. You know various levels of programming very well. And if you were to get a job for, let's say, Python or Golang in a different company, but the domain is same, or like you have let's say you are a seasoned programmer and you have experience with working complex tools, learning a new language should not be the barrier. And that's also one of the insights I feel one should have, like a professional programmer should have. At a point, languages are just tools. Teach them like tools. Use them like tools. You are not just bound by one language. You can start learning another language. And actually, my institution, I started with Python. The first internship I started at Red Hat was actually with Python, but the language which I am working on right now at Red Hat is Golang. I don't really work on Python these days. There is a small part of our code base which is in Python, but it is also automated code repository. So we don't really work on Python right now. So I already have switched a language in my career in just 3 years, almost 3 years of my career. So switching languages depending on the projects, depending on the need of the project, should not be a limiting factor. It actually should be an enabling factor, that you are able to switch languages easily, switch frameworks easily according to the need of the project. So if you have such experience in your resume, I think people will really look forward to hiring you. And one other thing is, people look for genuine experience. For example, you built a project by yourself in college, which is not a Stack Overflow ऊपर से copy paste कर लो. So you would have real insights into what it takes to build a project. So this is the funny thing I used to do when I used to interact with interns, like interns after my batch. So when I hired this guy in my internship, I actually asked him questions about what was the problem that he used to face while doing this project that he built. So I actually got real insights about has this guy really worked on this project or not. So I don't have a single like 5 tips about what you should do for a good interview. I'm not the best at interview. I'm not the best at resume, but I think building a genuine professional experience by having a real experience with those tools, those programming languages, would definitely help anyone in that case. Harshit Trivedi has this a question about, does Red Hat only hire on basis of DSA and competitive coding? No, frankly no. It all depends on the role of the job. So as I told, my first job was actually in quality engineering, where we used to do a lot of automated testing using Python and some of the frameworks, automated testing frameworks, UI frameworks that we had built at Red Hat, but it does not involve competitive coding and data structural algorithm. It was the nature of that job that it did not require me to have this experience as a major. I did have some experience with competitive coding and data structures and algorithm. I have graduated from a computer engineering degree, but it did not require me mainly because that job did require. So I think one should stop judging every computer science or every information technology job by data structures and algorithm or competitive coding. Competitive coding and data structures algorithm are required for some specific types of job. For example, you want to go into machine learning, you will surely require a good understanding of data structures. But if you want to go for a good web development job, you might not require. You need practical experience with those frameworks, or you want to go with QE job or any other job which does not require data structures algorithm in a very extensive way, you might not require those skill sets at all. Himadri is asking, how do I find Red Hat as a company to work for? It's really a really great company, not because it's paying me to say so. It is actually a good company. One of the good thing about Red Hat, if you ask any other person, like even if he has left this company already, would always say that Red Hat gives you a really good learning opportunity. Red Hat is where people build their career. So I came here with just Python knowledge, basic Python knowledge and some Django knowledge. I did not know much of testing. मैंने unit test लगता पर नहोता और तो and I still ended up with a QE job because I had some practical experience with Python. So once I came here, people actually left me alone to learn what is needed. So they gave me time. Okay, this is the things that we are working on. See what you want to learn and start doing things. So Red Hat actually has a really good culture about people letting other people, helping other people to learn something from scratch, from like learn, relearn, and improve on the skill set. So that has helped me along the way in this 3 years at Red Hat. I started with a basic Python knowledge, and currently I'm doing some, let's say, relatively complex work from what I started to do. I'm currently doing Golang, Kubernetes, and something which seemed very complex compared to what I started when I was fresh out of college. Yeah, so Mayur has a suggestion to do something similar for hard branches. You can write it to the organizers. Yeah. So what does my typical work day look like as a software engineer at Red Hat? My usual day starts actually a little late. I'm the only guy in my team from India. My whole team is from Europe and US. So I usually start a little late in the day when other people come online. But I am a partial remotee, and lockdown na lidhe to bada remote work j kare chhe aajkal. So my day usually starts. So if you know JIRA or any ticketing or task management tool, we use JIRA, or many corporates use JIRA. So I have a bunch of JIRA tasks which I need to complete in a sprint. Every day I look at those tasks and see what I have to do today, and I usually start by taking the most complex of pending tasks. I have a bunch of PRs, GitHub PR. All the work that Red Hat does is open source, so you can see any of our work on Google, on GitHub repos. So I usually start by checking status of my PR. Then if it needs some major push, I start doing that. There is usually a sync meeting every day. Like this is a standard practice for any corporate company, any software company, that you have daily syncs, you have weekly syncs, or any sync meetings where you update what you are doing. You ask for help about what you are doing. Whatever need, if you need any help, you take help from other co-people, co-workers, and take some help. So it usually starts with finding task and trying to figure out what you need to do about that task. What is, if it's a bug, it's a feature request, or it's a new version and you need to try to test. You need to do something to make sure it's working correctly. So software engineering job actually varies a lot, like bug fixes, new features, unit testing, and a lot of stuff that needs to, a lot of effort goes into maintaining a project. So I don't see any new questions now. If you still have any questions, we still have 5 minutes left. Feel free to paste it. I really wish it could have been something like over a Zoom or a video call, because YouTube is not the optimal way to interact. Chat, I mean, you just have an option of chat, but for more people, like at least 300 people signed up, so we didn't have any other option than YouTube. Harshit Trivedi has this question about should you wait for a good product based company, or you should take a job at service based company. So in my opinion, the question actually should be rephrased. Okay, should you go for service based company or should you go for product based company? In my personal opinion, one should actually mostly look for product based companies. Not that service based companies are bad, but product based companies, the work culture actually usually is what matters, because product based companies you won't have a timeline which is like एक week में तुम्हारा आटलू जोतू है. Like if you're a service based company, a customer is actually waiting for you to do something small and update him on a regular basis. While if you're working on a product based company, you are working on a product which is actually for working, like which is going for multiple years, multiple months at least, and you have time to really improve the project. You have time to actually impact that project over a set of time. So cutting short, the answer should be I would always go for product based company, but I don't really discriminate about service based company. If you get a job which is at a good service based company, go for it. Ishita has this question about finding good project definitions. Yeah, so it's difficult for everyone. It's not just you who find it difficult. मारा वक्त है, like बदाना वक्त है, same थ्यू है. But I think here is a good, easier way to find a good project definition. You can always look for what other people, I mean what good big companies are doing. I'll just give you an example of a tool that I tried to build in my final year. The tool was about if you know Google is this, Google Cloud is this, has this API, visual recognition API. I forgot the exact name of the tool, but what Google does is it lets you you can just send a image over HTTP. You can do API request to the cloud, and they will return back about what is actually in that image. So I was just randomly going through what Google is working on right now and what Google Cloud is actually publishing. Google I/O ko ina khabar hai, it's really nice product conference that Google does every year. So one of the Google I/O, they announced that they are releasing this visual recognition API. So I thought, okay, let's build something with that. So मैं ये API program एक Arduino जो board पर नाको Raspberry Pi, if you know. So on that Raspberry Pi, you can also fit a camera module. So using that camera module, you can just see के any सामने सूच है, and you can do a HTTP call over Wi-Fi to Google Cloud, and you will know के तुम्हारा device ની સામે શું છે. So I in a sense it become a prototype of IoT device. I just found that idea from while looking at Google's Google I/O conference. I don't know if there is a single source of ideas if you can for finding good projects, but I think it can be just impromptu things that you keep looking for. જોતા રહ્યો અને કદાચ મળી જાય. I mean, I think that's how I find it for me. And we are over the time now. It's 11. If you still have any questions, drop, or we can end the stream now. So I don't see any questions now. So I think we can end the streams. I hope you found this monologue helpful. If you still have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or any other seniors, alumni around you. Just start asking questions, and that's how you will learn. Thank you.